October 25th marks 10 years since we lost the late, great Emanuel Steward. Emanuel was known in boxing as one of the greatest trainers in the history of the sport. He might most famously be remembered as the trainer of Thomas the Hitman Hearns and for his association with the world-famous Kronk Gym in Detroit. But he trained so many more champions, made fighters champions, and made them better fighters. I grew up a huge boxing fan, so when I started working at HBO, it was really like a dream job. And one of the moments that has always stuck out to me was the dinner that I had with Emanuel Steward. It was back in 2004. He was training Vladimir Klitschko at the time, the heavyweight champion of the world. And Vladimir had a rematch coming up with Layman Brewster, the former heavyweight champion. They fought a few years before. Layman Brewster knocked out Klitschko, which was a huge upset. So I got to do a preview piece for the Klitschko-Brewster rematch. First I went to Florida and we shot with Layman Brewster. I had shot with Layman before. A great person. So I got to spend some time with Layman filming this piece. So we shot with Brewster for a few days in Florida, and then we flew to Austria where Vladimir Klitschko was training. He was training near the Alps, and I got to spend several days with him in the gym, but I really got to spend a lot of time around him and Emanuel, and I saw the interactions even when the cameras weren't rolling. Emanuel Steward used to cook for almost all his fighters. He cooked for Vladimir Klitschko too. He would bring food to his room. He would bring food to the gym. And I got to see the relationship that they had and the impact that Emanuel had on Vladimir. And trust me, Vladimir listened to everything Emanuel Steward said.
It's a natural punch, but also this year we got to work on that.
Yeah, I will do extra.
So we were all staying at the same hotel, and I think Emanuel was just happy to see another American besides the people in the camp. So one night, myself and the crew, the guys I was working with, we went to dinner at the hotel restaurant, and I see Emanuel with a crowd of people, and he waved us over. So of course we went over. I mean, I'm about to have dinner with Emanuel Steward. There was maybe 10 of us there when dinner started. The night goes on, and then it's just me and Emanuel. It's just us talking boxing, talking about life, but mostly about boxing. I had to admit to him that I grew up a Sugar Ray Leonard fan, and I was rooting for Sugar in both the fights with Tommy, and he was gracious and he accepted it. But my favorite part of the night was when I told Emanuel that I wanted to be a boxer when I was a kid, and there was a gym, there was a YMCA in my town of Rahway, New Jersey, and for a while I trained there, and it was only for a few months the program left, and I never pursued being a boxer again. But Emanuel always had a way of making you feel good, and he leaned over to me and he said, I can't do a real good Emanuel Steward impression, but he said, it's too bad I didn't train you. You'd have been a bad mother. So, to have Emanuel Steward say that when he really didn't know me, it made me feel great, and it's definitely one of the highlights of my career because I got to have dinner with a legend, and it was just me and Emanuel Steward. So that was definitely one of the nights I will never forget in my career. 10 years ago, Emanuel Steward passed away, but I can guarantee you that he is still very fondly remembered today. And personally, for me, you gave me a night I will never forget.